So next up, this is just been so informative. I'm learning so much listening to all this stuff. I hope you guys are too. Um, we are going to have Katie McGinness, and she is a licensed clinical social worker at Kauai Medical Clinic. And she is going to bring us some wonderful information about baby blues, understanding postpartum depression, which is, I know, affects a lot of moms. So, Katie, are you there?
Hopefully you guys can see me, but let's see. Sorry about this. Just try to get this down here. So I'm Katie. I am an LCSW at Kauai Medical Clinic, wanting to talk to you today about postpartum depression and anxiety. I put in the anxiety because want to, I guess, just incorporate that. Depression and anxiety comes together sometimes. One, is kind of more prevalent than the other sometimes, but especially with postpartum, you see some overlap. And I want to first of all start out by giving you guys some information about what depression might look like. And so we have the obvious things are the depressed mood, feeling sad, tearful, hopeless, feeling empty at times, and also very alone. And a lot of times people will tell me that the alone part of it especially comes in the evening or at night. Maybe when you're doing that last feeding and everyone else in the house is asleep, and even though there's others around, you feel very alone in that. Also sleep disturbance. So beyond the disturbance that you are going to experience with baby waking up. So either, you really have a hard time falling asleep when baby's asleep, or you are feeling like you're just falling asleep all the time. Or, people give you that suggestion, oh, well, when baby's sleeping or napping, make sure you're getting your sleep. And then there's almost like this extra pressure, and you can't. There's also lack of motivation, lack of interest in things you used to enjoy doing. So not like beyond kind of feeling like you're dragging, just not feeling to want to participate in anything, or in things that, you used to really enjoy. Change in appetite, either don't have an appetite anymore, feel like you're always hungry, always eating. Some cognitive difficulties, so symptoms can be that, you're having a difficult time concentrating. It's really hard to make decisions. Oh, well, what do I do with baby today? How do I do that? And negative self-judgment, intrusive negative thoughts. So you're feeling like it's just really hard to think about the positive thing. You get really overloaded with all these kind of negative pictures, negative thoughts that are coming into your head. Difficulty connecting or bonding with the baby. So feeling like you are just kind of going through the motions, not really feeling like you have a connection. It's difficult to, kiss your baby, to say, I love you, to kind of be really present in the, holding or soothing. And then there's, harm to self or to your baby. So, sometimes there are these thoughts that come into your head that, this is too overwhelming, or, that you just can't see another day, and that other people would be better off, your baby would be better off without you, those sorts of things. And then some people do have thoughts of harming their baby, and so those are legit and definitely red flags to be able to, talk to someone about, to get some help. Also, there's psychosis. So either, hearing things that other people aren't hearing, seeing things that other people aren't hearing. And so, or seeing those, that can be rare. That's like 4 in about every 1,000 births, but it does happen. So going on to anxiety, there's excess worry about things, feeling restless, very irritable, overwhelmed, again, the sleep disturbance, maybe having nightmares, and then not wanting to sleep, having just images throughout the day of worst case scenarios or those running through your head. And then avoidance due to fear of either failure, of harming your baby, others getting near your baby, and then can have panic symptoms. So anything from shortness of breath, rapid heartbeat, racing thoughts in your head, shortness of breath, feeling like you need to get out of wherever you are. Information about onset. So a lot of times people have questions about, the difference between baby blues and depression. And so usually we see postpartum depression appear within the first month after birth, and then, but it can be up until the first year, like within the first year. And then it lasts longer, those symptoms that we discussed, or last longer than about 2 months. And that's when we kind of feel like, okay, this is postpartum depression. And, we want to make sure that we're getting all the treatment and the supports. Baby blues is usually lasts about 3 to 5 days, it can kind of come and go. And this website that I have up here, so this is the website. Then, so the last longer than 2 months, the second part of that. This is from the Department of Health. And so it's, if you press on it, I don't know, let's see if it comes up. Do you guys see this? The Department of Health website?
Yep, it's up.
So this takes you, and there's a whole bunch of different questions and answers, and it gives you a really good difference between baby blues and postpartum. It's a lot of great information there. Also, symptoms can be throughout the day and can peak in the evening, as I talked about before. So prevalence, risk factors, about 1 in 9 births, you find postpartum depression. So you're definitely not alone if this is something that you're feeling. And the risk factors are if you've had a history of depression or bipolar, family history of depression or bipolar, you have limited support services around, maybe not family or friends, or a partner that's really engaged. Difficulty breastfeeding can play a part. Problems with previous pregnancies, relationship conflicts or money conflicts or stressors, if there's any drug or alcohol misuse. It's also been shown that if you're under the age of 20, you do have a higher risk factor of postpartum depression or anxiety. And then if you have a baby with special needs or a difficult birth or NICU, I mean, we all kind of, people who have had babies kind of know that the birth never really turns out exactly the way that you planned it. But if there's trauma with the birth, or even if it's just different than you wanted, then sometimes that can play a part. Or if there's unplanned or unwanted pregnancy. So And this little picture to the left is my second baby, my William. That was right after he was delivered, C-section. So a little bit different than I planned. So causes of depression, there's a lot of research still being done, but one thing that we do point to is hormonal changes. So chemical or hormonal changes. There is a dramatic drop in estrogen and progesterone that happens in the first 24 hours after birth. And this is the most dramatic drop that you'll experience. And so usually, we say that kind of plays a part in the baby blues sometimes, but then there's that recovery within the next 3 to 5 days. So that can kind of trigger stuff. And then if you have some of these other risk factors or, even if you don't have the risk factors, you can get the depression, anxiety. And then there's also some thyroid changes that happen. And so that if you are hyperthyroid, then those can also mimic some feelings of depression or could kind of go into depression. And so if that's something you're interested in, please talk to your doctor. You can do a thyroid test and figure that out. Then of course there's the psychosocial causes. So this is a whole new realm sometimes, new role. There's loss involved at times, there's loss of who you were as an individual or a couple. There's changing expectations of yourself and others. Sometimes our expectations are pretty high, and that can cause us to be depressed when we're not able to meet those expectations. What can help? So we definitely look at support, interpersonal connections. The more, sorry about that, doing housework next door. But there's support groups, there is getting connected any way possibly you can. I know that's a little bit more difficult nowadays. We have Corona on top of everything else, but there are other ways to connect. So as we're doing virtually, or sometimes it's nice to kind of talk to mom or other family members about what's going on. Sometimes that's not available. And so it's nice to talk to people who are going through kind of what you're going through too. Creating a routine and incorporating things that you're good at, that you're competent, be able to grow that competency and that mastery that maybe you might be feeling isn't there right now. Or things that you enjoy or have done and enjoyed in the past. Sleep when possible. I know I kind of put that on people before. Sometimes there can be some pressure, but if you are able, and then there's some sleep aids too, as far as like relaxation, music, apps that you can listen to, those sorts of things. And then getting some therapy and or medication, exploring that, talking to your doctor, talking to others who maybe went through that and have some connections for you, trying to set up some play dates. So after Corona, trying to figure out, okay, who around me has some little kiddos, and who can we get together with and share this experience so that you're not just in your own head. Educating yourself about your new experiences and your babies. So this, I'd say this, but then I kind of put a warning too, because sometimes if you look at all these milestones and things that your baby is supposed to be kind of meeting, then it can increase some of your anxieties. So be able to kind of look at those things, but if you're getting overly, if you're looking at them too often, or you're worried, that baby didn't meet that milestone right at that time that it's indicated, then that can be a red flag too, that your anxiety is kicking in. And then talking to your primary care doctor and or your your baby's pediatrician or your OB. There is a screening tool that your OB probably is using, and hopefully they're bringing that up in your appointments. Some really good online resources. So this is the top one, is the one that I showed before. They have a lot of great ones. The Mayo Clinic is always a good resource for a lot of different medical conditions. And they do have a great postpartum kind of section. And then there's this Postpartum Support International. So they're a really informative and supportive group. And this is the main site here, is the www.postpartum.net. And they have online support groups. They have like chat with an expert for both moms and dads. Their support group, I think I have it in the next slide, but they have a helpline too and things. So, and then the next one is on Hawaii. They have a breakdown, or not breakdown, but a breakout from the international group, and just for Hawaii. So this one, Diane Ashton is the one who is the rep for Oahu, and the one that represents all of Hawaii. And she is available, or other people are available, on the hotline 828. That's the one at the bottom. Their peer support group is via phone, and that is on Tuesday evenings. And then, as I said, I'm kind of going up now instead of down. PSI, the helpline, is open for anyone. And the Ask the Expert is Monday and Wednesday. And then in general, there's some general helplines. So the SAMHSA website that stands for Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, sorry. That's a federal group, lots of great resources there, but they have a helpline. And then the Hawaii Crisis Line is the 808-753-6879, and they're 24/7. If you ever need someone to talk to or feel like you're in a crisis. They also have a crisis mobile outreach group that if you are in crisis, then they can come out to the house and talk to you in person. And then there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They also have a text. So that is me. I know I kind of ran through that, lots of information. So hopefully some of that was helpful, and you guys can kind of take pieces of it or those resources.
That was great, Katie. Thank you so much.
And I can answer stuff now.
Okay,
if
great.
or if they're open to sharing with everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's harder for me to answer, since I don't have a private practice on the weekdays, but.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks, Katie. Does anybody have any questions?
It's my daughter, my oldest.
Okay. So if you were just getting on, doing that great presentation with all those wonderful resources, let me know where you're viewing from. If you could write that in the search bar, and especially for our Kauai moms, because we are definitely going to be doing another raffle for another amazing prize. And hold on, that's Katie. Okay, let me kind of switching stuff around. So let me see any questions. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be prize time again. Yes, because we have. Oh, wait. You want to know what let me show you what so I've been trying to make all these prizes kind of relate somewhat to the speakers. So when we're talking about depression, we know that the serotonin is what makes you happy, right? It's the chemical that makes you happy. 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut. So if your gut is not working well, it may lead to some depression. So when does your gut not work well? When you are constipated. So our next prize is a squatty potty. Yay! These are amazing. If you don't have one, you need to have one, especially as a new mom when your gut starts not working as well because of all the different different hormonal changes. Squatty potties are awesome. This was sent as by the Squatty Potty Company, and let's see who our lucky winner of our whose home is going to go to. All right,
Michelle, just good points about the gut and the nutrition, though, because some of what Amanda shared too is very helpful for, keeping balance and trying to help with the hormonal changes and kind of being able to give yourself a little extra. I don't know, like decrease some of those risk factors, kind of give yourself some more of the preventative factors that come in when you're eating well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Control what you can control, right? We can control what we put in our bodies. So definitely can make a huge impact in so many aspects of your lives by what we eat and how our system works.